Okay, guys, I'll try to make this quick and painless. So hopefully not too quick though, so we don't understand. So for honors, this is 4.5. For math 7, this is 3.5. We're talking about solving markup and markdown problems. How are the concepts of percent markup and markdown related to the percent equation? Seems like it's really redundant with the essential question, but it's worth going back through each time. In other words, the percent equation is part equals percent multiplied by whole. Now, the way it's related is we're going to use the markup or the markdown, and I'm going to show you that here in a minute. And that's going to equal the percent markup or markdown multiplied by the cost. So whatever the original cost is. Okay. So let's look at that in action. All right. So we're going to look at example 2 and 3 right here. So the first example on example 2 says the cost of shoes is $45. And they're going to go through and they're going to mark them up 15%. So what we do is we know that we do not know the part, okay? But we do know the percent, which is 15%. I'm going to replace these soon. And we do know the original cost, which their cost was $45. Now, in order to actually get this, we have to go like this. We have to go through and change the 15% to a decimal. In other words, this should be 0.15. Now, at this point, we can multiply them. If we multiply this, then you're going to find that you're going to get X equals $6.75. Okay, remember, we're dealing with money here, so it's $6.75. However, this problem is not over because they actually want to know the total cost. So you actually have to go through and add that to the $45, and it's going to equal the $51.75. So that's your answer, okay? Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to show you this even more when we go through and do the quiz number 5, but there's an easier way to do this. And the easier way to do this, so if you got it this way, go ahead and do it this way, but I also want to show you the easier way to do this. And this is that we go through, and instead of just multiplying it by 15% or 0.15, we would do X equals 1.15, because that's actually 115%. The 100% includes the original price of the $45 and multiply it by 45. That will actually give us the complete answer in one step. But you have to really understand percents in order to do that. Okay, this next one. This next one with example 3, they're actually doing a markdown. So the original price was $80. They marked it down to $48, and they want to know what the percent markdown is. Now, for the markdown or markup or markdown, okay, we don't know the percent. But we have to subtract this to figure out how much they marked it down. That becomes our markup or markdown. So in other words, the $32 is going to come here. This is going to equal X. Now you got to remember, this is a percent. We don't know what percent that is yet. And then we have to actually multiply that by the cost. Now in this case, the cost is the $80. Okay. Now we're doing this just the way we did before. We isolate the variable. We're multiplying here, so we divide by 80. Remember, 80 divided by 80 is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. We multiply the 1 by x, and it's x. So this is gone. But anything I do on this side of the equation, I have to do on this side of the equation. Now, when I divide this, x is going to equal 0.4. Okay, that doesn't really tell us yet. That's a percent in decimal form. We need to multiply this by 100. In other words, move it over 2 places. So it's 40. So it's actually a 40% markdown. Okay, guys? So that's how we do a markdown. That's a 40% markdown. Okay? So like I've told you in the past, if there's any part of this you don't understand, let me know and we'll go through it, okay? Okay, so here's the next one. Now, this is the one I was going to show you. Now, this does the same thing, okay? In other words, we would go through, we have a coffee table for quiz question number 5, and it's $115. They tell us that this coffee table is 20% off, but then we have to add back in a sales tax of 7.5%. Okay. So I'm going to do this the other way. All right. Even though you haven't had a whole lot of examples, I want you to see how we can make it easier. Now, here's what we do. We take the $115 and instead of multiplying it by 20%, because 20% is the amount that we would only find out the amount we were taking off, we're going to multiply it by 80%. Here's why. 100%, which I told you on the last one, represents this 115. If I subtract 20% from it, what I'm left over with is 80%. So if I multiply that by 80%, I'm going to get 80% of this price. Okay? Now remember, when I multiply it, I have to turn this percent into a decimal. That means I have to go through and divide it by 100. So I'm actually going to multiply this by 0.8. When I do that, then I get $92. That means that the price of the coffee table at 20% off is $92. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that $92 and I need to pay sales tax on it. Now, most people would go through and they would simply multiply it by the 7.5. The 7.5 as a decimal, bring it over 2 places, divided by 100, is 0.075. But if we want this $97, which has now become the new 100% included in the price, we would multiply it by 1.075. And what that's going to do is it's going to give the $97 plus the 7.5% tax included. If you do that, then you end up with 98 and 90. Remember, this is money, so it's actually $98.90. Okay, guys? So if you need to rewatch this to see some of it, or you need to ask me questions when you come in, make sure you just ask, and I'll re-explain any of this, and we can do some additional problems. All right, guys. Have a good one.